Adding new racks is necessary in order to make realistic module layout. In AutoCAD, click on Virto-Solar ribbon. In the Ground Mount section, there is the Solar Rack Settings option. This will initiate the pop-up window with settings. For the new rack creation, you have two options. Add a rack and add a clone of a rack. In order to add a new rack, click on Add Rack button. This will bring up a pop-up window. Enter a name for your rack and click OK. If you wish to edit the name of a rack, click on the icon and simply enter a new name in the same pop-up window as before. Text and depth options allows you to add a comment to rack name for a reference. If you want to create a rack similar to an existing one, you can clone a rack. Click on Ellipsis to get a pop-up window with Racks list. Select the rack you wish to clone and click OK. Click the Add Clone of Rack button. This will bring up a pop-up window where you will need to enter new name for rack and click OK. If you wish to remove a rack, click on Ellipsis to get a pop-up window with Racks list. Select the rack you wish to remove, click OK. Click the Remove Rack button. After a new rack for your PV plant was created, we need to define its parameters and settings in the Rack section. In the Preview section, a rack is visualized with all the settings you have entered. To start defining the rack settings, we will select a module. Click on the ellipsis. This will bring a pop-up window with the modules database. Select a module for your layout from the list. Typing information in one of the three boxes or selecting from drop-down lists works as a search option for existing modules in the database and can speed up your work. Click OK after this module. It will be selected. After that, we have to choose the rack type: south or north facing, east-west facing, or single axis tracker. We have chosen the south or north facing type here. After setting up your module and rack type, the properties for length and depth, as well as the vertical and horizontal module spacing are automatically calculated. You can edit these values in the inboxes as you please. Vertical and horizontal offset from rack to modules. With this, you can fill in the parameters if the rack is larger than the modules themselves, or if there are any additional module parts that are sticking out of the rack. Module orientation determines if the module will be oriented on the rack vertically, landscape option, or horizontally, portrait option. Select one of these two options from drop-down menu. With the Columns Rows option, you can enter the quantity of modules, rows, and columns on your rack. Adjusting the tilt angle will fill in the angle value between the rack and the horizon. Bottom side height enters the height from the ground to the bottom side of the rack. After we set the tilt angle and the bottom side height, the top side height will be automatically calculated. You can set the type of piles. Select single or double type from the drop-down list. With distance to piles, the dimensions from the rack edges to piles, CE, and between the piles, D, from the end view of the rack. Distance D is calculated automatically after C and E will be set. Distance between piles, the pile's pitch size usually is between 3.5 meters and 4 meters. The number of piles lets you enter the quantity of piles for the rack. Preview will help you see how rack will be installed on entered amount of piles. After setting the distance between the piles and the number of piles, the distance to the edge of piles will automatically be calculated. To define rack and module colors, click on corresponding ellipsis. Select wished color from the color palette window that will appear. After all the rack settings were done, click OK to add them to your rack. Congratulations, you have now added a rack to the database.